Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers. Order number 6, notices of motion.
Honorable Robert Alai, notice of motion on digital platform for registration, vetting, and linking artisans to clientele within the county. Are you ready?
Yes, Honorable Speaker, yes.
Clerk, I've always directed you to facilitate members in good time so that they may be in a position to address the assembly properly.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I wish to give the notice of this motion. Honorable Speaker, protect me from these two members.
Did Honorable Abbas jump the Honorable Abbas?
Honorable Speaker, I wish to give the notice of the motion. Subject is digital platform for registration, vetting and linking artisans to clientele within the county. Honorable Speaker, I wish to give the following motion. Aware that paragraph 7 of part 2 of the 4th schedule of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 provides for the trade development and regulation, including but not limited to markets and trade licenses, excluding regulation of professionals as devolved county functions, noting that Nairobi City County hosts a significant number of informal traders who contribute substantially to the local economy by providing employment opportunity.
Honorable Njogu, please. I don't expect a chair of a committee to walk out of the plenary when we have some serious and critical business to transact in the assembly.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, noting that Nairobi City County hosts a significant number of informal traders who contribute substantially to the local economy by providing employment opportunities, enhancing livelihoods, and fostering economic growth. Hence, despite their conditions, the informal sector remains unregistered, mainly leading to challenges in regulation, revenue collection, service provision. Further, noting that according to the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics 2014 report, 82.7% of the jobs in Kenya being categorized in the informal economy, i.e. Juakali, with the majority being artisans such as carpenters, plumbers, electricians, and other forms of crafts. Acknowledging the needs to the county government to provide a digital platform for registration, vetting, linking artisans to clientele within the county and its environs. Now, therefore, this assembly resolves that the county executive is to develop and provide a seamless digital registration system for artisans and informal traders in the county. Subsequently, conduct a county-wide registration process for all informal traders within Nairobi City County through the established platform. Issues business and personal trading numbers to all registered artisans, informal traders to enhance identification, regulation, and access to county services. Ensure sensitization and capacity building programs for informal traders on the importance of registration, formalization, and compliance within
the Honorable Sospita Mumbi on general statement.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Subject on my statement, skewed development in various sub-counties in the county. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to Standing Order 46, I wish to make a general statement and to further seek the Speaker's direction on the supposed neglect of capital projects development, service delivery, and county programs and interventions in Roysambu Sub-County, contrary to the provisions of Section 103 of the County Government Act 2012 on the objective of the county planning as cited below. In the Act 103B, the objective of the county planning shall be to inter alia facilitate the development of well-balanced system of settlements and ensure productive use of scarce land, water, and other resources for economic, socio, ecological, and other functions across the county. 103F provide the preconditions for integrating underdeveloped and marginalized areas to bring them to the level generally enjoyed by the rest of the county. Honorable Speaker, Roysambu Ward, being one of the 85 wards in the county and one of the 5 wards in Roysambu Sub-County, has in the recent years considered or be considered among the best performing wards in the county with an annual revenue projection and target of 228 million, that is in the year 2023-2024, and this year 2024-2025 a target of 282 million. However, as elected member for Roysambu Ward, I register my dismay on behalf of residents, for we have given so much for so little and for a bit too long now. Honorable Speaker, while I appreciate the ongoing development in other wards and sub-counties, while I also appreciate the recent introduction of Barrow's administration system, I am concerned that with the neglect state of development in Roysambu Ward and sub-county at large, I feel we have given so much for so little and for a bit too long now. Cases in particular, Honorable Speaker. Number 1, in FY financial year 2023-2024, only one capital project of 20 million was implemented for construction of a 400-meter road, namely Maroroi Primary to Akinyanjui Phase 1. However, the project has stalled due to lack of payment. Number 2, similarly, in the same financial year, 2023-2024, my office pushed for a budget allocation of 5 million to construct a perimeter wall at Maroroi Health Center in a bid to curb perennial flooding and insecurity. Unfortunately, this project was not actualized, thus jeopardizing the operations of the facility, particularly during rainy seasons. Number 3, additionally, in the year 2024-2025, my office pushed for allocation of 20 million, which translated to 400-meter road for Phase 2 of Maroroi Primary to Akinyanjui, with another 20 million for rehabilitation of Lumumba First Avenue and 5 million for a perimeter wall at Maroroi Health Center. However, it's quite disappointing and unfair that only Maroroi Primary to Akinyanjui Road was retained in the supplementary budget. Worse still, the fate of this project and its implementation remains unknown, reason being Phase 1 of Maroroi Primary to Akinyanjui Road has already stalled and the financial year is less than 3 months away. This will mean no single project will be achieved in Roysambu Ward in the year ending 2024-2025. Again, Honorable Speaker, we have given so much for so little for a bit too long now. As an empowered community and in partnership with the Residents Association and sub-county officers, my office, Honorable Speaker, spearheaded a survey on the status of street lighting in Roysambu Ward. This exercise culminated into a mapping report which highlighted the deficits and the interventions required as far as street lighting is concerned. Further, the report was shared with Chief Officer, that is Engineer Tiro, Chief Officer in charge of Works, and the Director, Lighting, Engineer Getonga. So far, no substantive action has been taken to address the said concerns. Number 4, further, on 12 October 2023, my office requested for a statement in the Assembly regarding a public land for nursery school in Lumumba. On 17th October 2024, the responses were given confirming that the land is public. Notably, the Chief Officer Lands, Madam Wangari, gave an undertaking to have the land given back to the public by mid of November 2024, that is last year. The same sentiments were shared by the Chair Planning, Honorable Palapala, while on Hansard, in his response to the statement, it is now almost 5 months, Honorable Speaker, and the undertaking is yet to be honored. Again, Honorable Speaker, we have given so much for so little and for a bit too long. Following heavy flooding that continue to cause havoc to the residents of Garden Estate and Dome, my office launched a task force to look on possible long-term interventions for flood mitigation in the areas undermentioned. Through this task force, a report was generated and shared with the relevant authorities, including Sector for Disaster Management at Nairobi City County Government through CEC, Bramwell. Again, I shared the same with Kenha, Nairobi River Commission, among others. Unfortunately, no response and feedback has been received so far, and in particular from the disaster CEC. Additionally, my office further wrote to the CEO, Ward Development Fund, requesting for termination of the contractor in charge of Safari Brook Road, which has stalled for over 1 year with no substantive reason. Similarly, my office has written numerous letters appealing for support from the county to maintain and fix dilapidated roads in Roysambu Ward. A list of the said road is attached, and that list, Honorable Speaker, was shared to the Chief Officer in charge of roads, and that's why we ended up having a demonstration in my area last week. Again, Honorable Speaker, my office has escalated the concerns of Roysambu Ward residents on noise pollution through statements in the Assembly. The hardly affected areas include, but not limited to, Garden Estate, Ridgeways, Mirema, Lumumba, and USIU. Still again, Honorable Speaker, we have given so much for so little and far for a bit too long now. As a remedy, Honorable Speaker, and before I get to that, Honorable Speaker, it's very unfortunate that I was heckled while doing my mandate of representation by people, the Liquor Board Committee. So that is a sensitive matter, Honorable Speaker. Now, as a remedy, Honorable Speaker, I seek the following interventions. The Select Committee on County Finance, Budget and Appropriations intercedes by deploying affirmative action and use the anticipated financial FY 2025-2026 budget estimates to leverage Roysambu Ward and sub-county at large to match up the other developing wards and sub-counties. Honorable Speaker, the Committee on County Budget and Appropriation Committee to give life to Section 103F of the County Government Act 2012 by ensuring physical planning documents provide the preconditions for integrating underdeveloped and marginalized areas to bring them to the level generally enjoyed by the rest of the county for effective service delivery. And lastly, all pending projects be prioritized, but not on expense of newly identified projects, especially if public funds had been allocated and appropriated for the same to ensure no public funds are lost. And lastly, again, Honorable Speaker, we have given so much for so little and for a bit too long now. Hope not any longer for the people of Roysambu. I seek your guidance, Honorable Speaker, and I thank you for the opportunity.
Honorable Member, as you seek the guidance of the Chair, mine is just to direct it to the Budget and Appropriations Committee and the relevant committees to take up the concern as raised by the Honorable Member of Roysambu and report in a record 2 weeks as directed. Honorable members, you need to get your standing orders correctly. We are under order number 6, where we have members to request for statements, because that does not need to attract the debate, honorable members. It is a concern by a member of Roysambu. Let me really move to 7 Roman 2. Honorable Sospita, on behalf of the Assembly Committee, Business Committee, is it you to Honorable Katile? Kindly proceed, Honorable Katile.
Honorable Speaker, pursuant to Standing Order 47-2A, on behalf of the Assembly Business Committee, I rise to give the following statement regarding the business appearing before the Assembly for the week beginning Wednesday, 2nd April 2025. Honorable Speaker, the Assembly Business Committee met on Tuesday, 1st April 2025 to allocate business for a week for consideration by this Assembly. In that regard, Honorable Speaker, allow me to brief the Assembly as follows. That, 1, today, Wednesday, 2nd April 2025, this Assembly shall be considering the following business. Under Order number 8, the Honorable Shege Maura, MCA and Member for Ngara Ward, will move a procedural motion for the second reading of the Nairobi City County Betting, Lotteries and Gaming Bill 2023, Assembly Bill number 12 of 2023, and under Order number 9, the Honorable Robert Alai, Member for Kilelesho Ward, shall be moving a substantive motion urging the County Executive in conjunction with NTSA to develop guidelines for registering and issuance of reflective number plates for all wheelbarrows, rickshaws, hand carts, animal drawn carts, luggage trolleys and tricycles in the county. Number 2, further on Thursday, 3rd April 2025, the Assembly will be considering the underlisted business. Under Order number 8, the Chairperson Public Accounts Committee shall be moving a resolution motion for adoption of a committee report on the consideration of the report of the Auditor General on the financial statement of Nairobi City County Assembly Service Board Mortgage Scheme Fund for the year ended 30th June 2019, laid on the table of the Assembly on Thursday, 19th September 2024. Under Order number 8, the Chairperson Public Accounts Committee shall be moving a resolution motion for adoption of a committee report on the consideration of the report of the Auditor General on the financial statements of Nairobi City County Assembly Service Board Carlon Scheme Fund for the year ended 30th June 2019, laid on the table of the Assembly on Thursday, 19th September 2024. Lastly, Honorable Speaker, on Tuesday, 8th April 2025, the Assembly will similarly be considering the underlisted business. Under Order Number 8, the Chairperson Planning Committee shall be moving a resolution motion for adoption of a committee report on the vetting of the nominee for appointment as an executive chairperson for Nairobi County Rural and Urban Affordable Housing Committee. And under Order Number 9, the Honorable Mark Mugambi and member for Umoja 1 Ward will move a substantive motion on support of football teams in the county. Honorable Speaker, the Assembly Business Committee urges members of this Assembly to familiarize with the aforementioned motions and bill and prepare accordingly for debate through the help of our research department. Details of the motions and the bill can be obtained in the notice paper, being the last page of the day's order paper and on the County Assembly website. Honorable Speaker, the Assembly Business Committee shall be informing this Assembly every Wednesday through its designee, the allotted business every Wednesday during the statement hour for timely preparation. Finally, Honorable Speaker, the Assembly Business Committee will again meet on Tuesday, 8th April 2025 at the rise of the Assembly to ballot business for the subsequent week. Honorable Speaker, I now wish to lay the statement on the table of the Assembly. Honorable Diana Katile, member of the County Assembly, designated member by the Assembly Business Committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member Katile. Honorable Kados.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Pursuant to Standing Order 47-2C, I rise to request for a statement. A request for a statement from the Chairperson of Sectoral Committee on Agriculture and Fisheries regarding concerns raised by residents of Nairobi County, especially in some slaughterhouses in Jiro, Matopeni, Spring Valley, and Ruai, on illegal movement and grazing of cattle intended for slaughter within the ward. Honorable Speaker, Regulation 10(1) of the Meat Control Local Slaughterhouse Regulation 2012 states that animals brought for slaughter shall be confined in lineages and shall not be moved about unnecessarily. Further, Section 21 of the Meat Control Act stipulates that any person who contravenes or fails to comply with any of the provisions of this Act or any regulation made thereunder shall be guilty of an offense. Honorable Speaker, there has been a notable concern raised that animals meant for slaughter are being transported into Mihango Ward and are being left to graze in undesignated areas, potentially exposing local livestock to foot and mouth disease and other animal health risks. This raises serious concern regarding public health and the enforcement of slaughterhouse regulations within the county. Honorable Speaker, in the statement, the Chairperson should inquire into and report on: 1. A comprehensive report on the process of issuing letters of no objection being managed to prevent unauthorized movement of livestock within areas not permitted for movement. 2. A detailed report on the steps taken by the county executive to prevent the risk of foot and mouth disease, among other diseases, due to unauthorized grazing of slaughter-bound animals. 3. Whether the enforcement actions are being taken against those who are illegally bringing cattle for slaughter into the ward and allowing them to graze contrary to existing regulations, and 4. Measures put in place to ensure that all cattle transported for slaughter are accompanied by valid movement permits that clearly indicate the owners of the cattle and adhere to a 24-hour slaughterhouse timeline. Honorable, thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, I'm just about to make a communication. Please. Can the Chair Agriculture give an undertaking on the period of time he would want to respond to the Honorable member?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Since the message that Deputy Speaker has brought up is of good importance, especially to Nairobians and agriculture as a sector, we would ask for 2 weeks. We'll come up with a solution. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Deputy Speaker, is that okay with you? Thank you. Now, honorable members, before we move to the next order, I'd actually requested to bypass the business as it appears in the sequence in the order paper. But now I'm ready to proceed, honorable members. Honorable members, you may recall that I made a commitment to update the Assembly on the status of the finances of the County Assembly of Nairobi today, Wednesday. And for that reason, honorable members, I'll take you through Honorable Member, kindly Hasim, proceed. But before then, honorable members, before I communicate this, I would just want to put a reminder to the honorable members on their roles and responsibility that each and every member in this house must be ready to collectively, and I say to collectively, own up to your actions, resolutions, because it is in this house where you members make decisions. It is you who passes the appropriation bill. It is you who passes the budget. And I hope you understand the budget making process into details. Honorable members. Because, honorable members, the Assembly schedule provides the allocation of monies to various sectors. Kindly proceed, Honorable Samora. And honorable members, we have schedules on local travels. We have schedules on committee retreats. We have schedules for foreign travels. And all these are normally apportioned a budget. We have a budget under the office of the clerk. We have a budget under the office of the speaker. We have a budget under the County Assembly Service Board. And we have a budget under committees. At the disposal of members at every given time. But now, honorable members, when you realize a board has traveled, you should be cognizant of the fact that they have a location for such trips. It is a vote line under the County Assembly Service Board. So I really don't expect a member to question why the speaker who has a vote which you pass here during the budget, then now you start questioning. That money is normally allocated to facilitate either members on their local or foreign trips. And for some reason, honorable members, the chair has always asked the members to bear with the institution to a point where members normally travel abroad. I'm aware of members who traveled sometime last year in September to Singapore. Then they were compensated last month. So you can imagine you traveled in September last year, because again, we must go and work in line with the assembly calendar. We have, you are aware now we are in fourth quarter. If we don't utilize these monies, then now what happens to the control of budget? I hope you understand why I'm bringing members to speed to. Honourable members, kindly proceed and be seated. Honourable members, I have the following further communication on matters related to assembly resources. As promised during yesterday's sittings, I wish to provide an update regarding the payment of funds received from the county treasury. As you are aware, the Nairobi City County Assembly relies on the county executive for funding to facilitate its operations, and any delay in receiving the funds has potential grounding of our operations. Accordingly, from the requested amount of 500 million on requisitions, we have been able to receive only 239,438,082 shillings, which have since been paid as follows. Honorable members, I hope you are taking a keen note. Under column 1, the date of receipt of the money. Column 2, the requisitioned amount. Then column 3 is on the particulars. Honorable members, on 6th March 2025, the County Assembly received 57,793,806, being January salary. On 6th of March this year, the Assembly received 11,858,170, being January salary. Being January salary for ward offices. That is the members of the staff. All members kindly proceed. On 13th March The Assembly received 6.760812. Ward Office impressed 6,760,812. On 13th March, the Assembly received 2,042,200 as professional payments for the services. On 13th March, the Assembly received 25,581,400 being committee allowances. On 13th March, the Assembly received 2 million for fuel. On 14th March, the Assembly received 16,824,172 under LAP fund. 14th March, the Assembly received 4,373,442, same LAP fund. On 14th March this year, the Assembly received 1,193,259 for hotels and adverts. 1,193,259. On same 14th March, the Assembly received 19,336,800 committee allowances. 14th March, the Assembly received 1.588,399 towards services provided by professional bodies. 1.588. On 19th March, the Assembly received 1.182,535 for the Insurance Kenya Orient. On 21st March, the Assembly received 20,467,179 for the Speaker's motor vehicle. 21st March, the Assembly received 20,364,960 Ward Office impressed pending bills refunded, which was refunded back to the Loans and Mortgage Committee. So that money was refunded back to the Loans Committee. On 21st March, the Assembly received 28,253,510. LAP fund being personal benefit. On 21st March, the Assembly received 4.611,452 insurance for personal benefits. 21 March, the Assembly received 1.521,480. That is 1.5 million for LAP Trust, personal benefit. Those are contribution of members. 21st/03/2025, the Assembly received 5.738,636 training fees, foreign trips. 21st/03/2025, the Assembly received 2.417070 LAP Trust personal benefit or contribution of members. 21st/03/2025, the Assembly received 1.915 as operations and management claims, maintenance claims. 05 tarehe 5. This has an error. Clerk, this is indicating November. Clerk, check the last column. Why is November there? So, honorable members, in total, the Assembly has received 239,438,082. Honorable members, I take this opportunity to urge the County Treasury and relevant state agencies, such as the Control of Budget, to prioritize the release of those funds to enable the Assembly fulfills its mandate effectively. Adequately and timely funding is critical in ensuring that legislative duties are carried out without disruption and that all financial obligations are met. I appreciate your patience and cooperation as we work towards the resolution of this matter. Honorable members, of this, today I received a call from the governor. We had a discussion, and the governor has slotted a meeting with the Assembly administration and the leadership and the executive tomorrow at 10 over the issues which has been raised by the Assembly. Honorable members, I have a further communication. This is titled Getting Back on Track. Restoring effectiveness and accountability in sectoral committees. Honorable Member for Parklands, kindly proceed. Honorable members, I have the following communication to convey regarding restoring effectiveness and accountability in sectoral committees. And due to the gravity of the issues the communication raises, I request all members to remain attentive and to be part of this journey. Honorable members, the strength and effectiveness of any legislative body lie in the work of its committees. Sectoral committees serve as the backbone of oversight, legislation, and representation, ensuring that government policies and programs are implemented effectively and in the best interest of the people. These committees are tasked with scrutinizing county executive actions, monitoring service delivery, and providing well-researched reports with substantive recommendations to guide this House in making informed decisions. Without active and functional committees, our mandate as representatives of the people is significantly weakened. Honorable Petit, please. Honorable members, this Assembly has a proud history of vibrant, proactive committees that have played a critical role in ensuring accountability and good governance. In the past, our committees have exposed inefficiencies influenced by policy changes and provided strong oversight on county affairs. It is through the diligent work of these committees that key service delivery improvements have been realized in various sectors. It is therefore deeply concerning that committees of this assembly, especially sector committees, have relapsed in their oversight responsibilities. The current state of affairs points a sad picture that now calls for immediate action by the chairs. Honored members, I have analyzed a number of weaknesses exhibited by our committees, which I can summarize as follows. 1, failure to produce substantive reports. Many committees have failed to generate well-researched reports with actionable recommendations. Reports presented to this House often lack depth, are repetitive, and do not provide concrete solutions to the challenges facing the county. This failure has weakened the Assembly's ability to hold the executive accountable. 2, lack of regular site inspection visits. Honored members, committees are mandated to conduct site inspections to assess the implementation of the county projects and services. However, many committees have neglected this responsibility, choosing instead to rely on second-hand information from county officials. Where they conduct inspection visits, their reports are either not forthcoming or do not provide information that may help to hold to account executive officials who continue to act with impunity. A critical area of concern is the physical planning and construction area. We have left executive officials in the planning department to run their affairs with little accountability. This neglect has resulted in the blatant disregard of the Physical Planning Act, leading to the approval of substandard buildings and the proliferations of rogue developers who prioritize profit over safety and quality. For instance, Section 19 of the Physical Planning Act, Cap 286, requires involvement of residents to conduct public participation before any approval of any development. Unfortunately, this has been disregarded on many occasions, resulting in realizing high-rise buildings coming up in our wards, and for some reason without the knowledge of the honorable members who happens to be the custodian of their various wards. Honourable members, it is quite unfortunate that this has been disregarded on many occasions. Without strict oversight, illegal developments have continued to emerge, endangering lives and contributing to Nairobi's growing urban chaos. The failure of the Sectoral Committee on Planning and Housing to conduct regular inspections and reinforce compliance has allowed these violations to persist, putting residents at risk of disasters such as building collapses. 3, complacency and laxity among committee members. Honourable members, there has been a noticeable decline in the enthusiasm and commitment of committee members. Some committees barely meet. Honourable member, the speaker is on the floor. Some committee barely meet, and when they do, deliberations are often unstructured and lack focus. In some instances, committee members fail to attend scheduled sittings, further delaying the committee's work or resulting in lack of any substantive output. The House is starved with critical business such as bills, since most committees are holding business as simple as pre-publication scrutiny of legislative proposals, which has timelines. In addition, the most impactful program to honorable members and the residents in general, i.e., the Ward Development Program, has collapsed due to this complicity by the relevant committee. This also extends to the health of residents, especially with the mushrooming of restaurants, which pose public health concerns. 4, delayed or non-implementation of committee resolutions. Honourable Member, kindly proceed. 4, delayed or non-implementation of committee resolutions. Even in the cases where committees make recommendations, there is little follow-up to ensure that their resolutions are implemented. To make matters worse, I have not seen the implementation committee table its report in the recent past. This has allowed county departments to ignore or delay necessary reforms without consequences. 5, lack of proactive oversight on major county programs. Honorable members, committees have not been proactive in scrutinizing key county projects, budgets, and policies instead of taking a forehand-looking approach to oversight. Some committees only react after problems arise, making it difficult to prevent mismanagement or wastage of public funds. Why are committees, for instance, not reporting on issues like a failed public transport system, lack of street lighting in our estates, garbage monies, and the challenges in the health sector? 6, poor coordination between committee chairs with respective CC members and committee secretariat. Honourable members, some committee chairs and members have not established effective working relationship with county executive committee members or chief officers and their own committee secretariats. This has resulted in delay in receiving crucial information, poor communication, and untimely ineffective oversight. Honourable members, with the foregoing, I have a duty to guide this assembly so that it can provide leadership and oversight that drives positive change. Our committees must operate with diligence, commitments, and integrity to ensure that county resources are utilized effectively and services delivered effectively. Honourable members, I therefore wish to direct as follows. And I repeat, I wish to direct as follows. 1, committee status report. I direct that all the sittings of next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, shall be dedicated to receiving status reports from all committees. All committee chairpersons must appear before the House next week to present a status report on their work, detailing achievements, challenges, and pending assignments. Additionally, they must provide an assessment of their working relationship with the Secretariat, relevant county executive committee members, and chief officers. Honourable members, I do not expect the usual annual reports that have been the norm before the liaison committee. I expect a very informative and forward-looking report, and chair must understand all the facts in the report. The clerk is therefore directed to prepare a schedule on how the chairs shall appear before the House and commence an urgent House business. There is a lapse in that. The chair shall appear before the House on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And for that reason, I direct the House Business Committee to reassign the allocation of business that was to appear on Tuesday to a later date. and reserve Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday for the chairman to articulate the issues in regards to their various committees. 2 honorable members on Ward Development Program. I direct that the chairperson of Ward Development Fund Committee to provide a detailed report on the status of ongoing and completed projects under the program, including challenges affecting their implementation. The chair must report on the status of the bill on this matter and explain why the committee has not finalized on its consideration at what stage and at what stage. The chair to provide the list of the requisition, the names of the contractors to be paid. 3, this is directions. Site inspection visits. Honorable members, the committees must resume regular site visits to assess the progress and impact of county programs services. These visits must inform the committee's inquiries and subsequently, if need be, close the sites which are not up to date. 4, planning and development oversight. The Sectoral Committee on Planning and Housing is directed to inspect all ongoing developments across Nairobi and report to the House within 2 weeks. In line with the Physical Planning Act, the committee must also ensure that public participation is conducted for all developments before commencements as required under Section 19 of the Physical Planning Act and guided by the area elected members. Health and Public Safety Inspection. The Sectoral Committee on Health Services must inspect all food joints and restaurants in Nairobi and report within 2 weeks on their compliance with health and sanitation regulations. The safety and well-being of Nairobi residents must remain a top priority for the honorable members. Review of the standing orders. Honorable members, I direct the Procedure and Rules Committee, to which I chair, to urgently finalize and table its report, which is long overdue, on the review of standing orders, particularly on the issue of introduction of questioning time that will see CC members appear before this House on Wednesdays to respond to urgent matters. Honorable members, let us commit to the responsibilities entrusted to us and work towards an assembly that truly serves the interest of the public of Nairobi. I want to promise that I will personally monitor compliance with these directives, and failure to adhere will subsequently attract action as required by our standing orders and the Constitution. The time for action is now. The House is so guided. Thank you, honorable members. Clerk.
Order number 8, Bill. The Nairobi City County Betting, Lotteries and Gaming Bill 2023, Assembly Bill number 12 of 2023, second reading.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you for that very insightful direction. We will adhere to it. Mr. Speaker, I rise to move that the bill on the Nairobi City County Betting Allotment and Lotteries Gaming Bill be read for a second time. Mr. Speaker, as I move, I want to start by stating that the Constitution of Kenya, at the 4th schedule, captures under Article 34 of the 4th schedule that national betting, casinos, and other forms of gambling is a national function. Further, in the second part of county governments that talks about the county governments, under Article 4 of the same, there is cultural and public entertainment and public amenities that includes betting, casinos, and other forms of gambling as a county function. So, Speaker, there is a huge growth in betting and gaming and lotteries within the country. However, very little has happened in terms of how the county addresses itself and secures its own citizens of the county in ensuring that some of these issues that are brought by the growth of the betting and the lotteries and gaming bill industry do not affect the society. Mr. Speaker, freedom is good and gambling is allowed. It's just that when it crosses over and is no responsible gambling or gaming, then the society decays because of lack of regulations and we have anarchy. So the bill, Mr. Speaker, seeks to address those gaps that this very much money lucrative industry refuses also to address. Issues like addiction. Mr. Speaker, today, if you look at an alcoholic, you can easily tell what is his problem. But those symptoms don't appear for somebody who is suffering from a gambling addiction. It is not in the face, it is not in how they dress, and so you might not know what is happening psychologically and emotionally, and the kind of distress that comes with it. And so, Mr. Speaker, justification for this bill starts from there, because if we don't come very strongly and organize a way of regulating the betting, lotteries and gaming, then we'll have a problem, Mr. Speaker. The growth of the industry, Mr. Speaker, has moved from the days when we were kids and we saw charity sweepstake and national lottery for one big something happening over Christmas to today at the comfort of your phone, or when you're listening to the radio coming to work, or actually even in the TV station. There is a lot of easiness when it comes to people to place any gamble, to place a bet. And it does not regulate the age, it does not regulate time, it does not regulate to what extent. Mr. Speaker, even when you go to withdraw your own money, and this is your own money in the account, the bank gives you a maximum amount that you can withdraw out of an ATM. But gambling does not tell you up to what extent that you can gamble. And so it opens up a huge area that we have not looked into. So, Mr. Speaker, these concerns are what we want to raise in this very noble process of coming to regulate this industry, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the financial aspects and impact are enormous to families, to society, and it's just a matter of time when now it becomes a national pandemic. And before it gets there, and the bulk of the gambling happening in Nairobi, so Speaker, of the national betting that happens, almost 90% happens in Nairobi. Yet we have no clue when it comes to regulation. And so, Mr. Speaker, this is a very timely bill to try and address those things. Mr. Speaker, this bill wants to introduce restrictions so that our minors are not exposed to gambling. We also want this bill to create a revenue stream, a proper revenue stream for the county so that we can able to address these kinds of issues. Mr. Speaker, more importantly, we want to bring responsible gambling measures so that while it is okay for you to gamble where it is legal, why don't we now create a framework where it's responsible? We give you timelines, even for advertising. Today, in the morning, you will hear some radio station telling you to, I don't know, do star whatever, and you are in the gambling business. So, Speaker, these are the issues that we want to raise. What I urge this Honorable House to deal with, number one, is to create an awareness so that this conversation does not become a county assembly awareness program. We blow it out so that the county and the country can have an in-depth conversation about the ills, the pros and the cons about gambling, about betting, about lottery. Mr. Speaker, while the bill seeks to regulate, I need to be very clear to members, because I know some of my colleagues are also fans of soccer and also put the gambling wherever to various teams. This bill is not banning gambling, but it seeks to regulate so that responsibly we can address this issue. Finally, Mr. Speaker, we wish that we want to create a framework and we want to create a conversation around this big topic. It's a big business. It funds the sports fund of the country. But when it comes to what the county can be able to do, the 90% of the gambling proceeds are actually Nairobians' monies. We must find a way of being able to tap in those kinds of resources and then channeling them to actual good support for ensuring this doesn't move to a menace, it doesn't spoil our societies, it doesn't shatter our families. And Mr. Speaker, if members will agree that it moves to the second reading, I will appreciate and have a bigger conversation, not just in this house, but even in your wards and in the country and the county at large. So Speaker, as I beg to move, I request the leader of minority to second. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The leader of minority, please.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to second this bill and also make a few remarks on the same. Honorable Speaker, I think there cannot be a better time to rectify what has been done wrong or what is going wrong than now. Honorable Speaker, as a country, we are sinking deep. We are sinking deep into depression and into industries that do not add value to this country. Honorable Speaker, this country started with 2 casinos in the 90s to 31 today and 99 betting companies. Honorable Speaker, it is an open secret that SportPesa, and sorry to name one company of many, is more profitable than Safaricom today. That betting companies have grown 1 million-fold in the last 2 years. Honorable Speaker, the growth of the gambling and betting industry is a reflection of an economic erosion in this country. Honorable Speaker, 84% of our people aged between 18 and 35 years are active gamblers in Kenya. This is the highest percentage anywhere in this continent. The leading cause of suicide, job losses, marriage breakages, business losses and depression is betting and gambling. Honorable Speaker, the most, if not all, betting and gambling houses and companies are owned by foreigners, most of whose countries have either banned or have strict laws prohibiting gambling and betting. And Honorable Speaker, I would still want to go back to SportPesa, whose face is a member of parliament of Kasarani, who is Karauri, who only owns 5% of SportPesa. The other 95% is owned by foreigners who take, I don't know what mathematics, but I'm suspecting they take 95% of the profit they make from this country and invest in other countries, not this one. Between 2019 and 2023, Honorable Speaker, betting and gambling grew from 1.9 to 13.9% in this country. No other industry, no other activity, including farming, has grown anywhere close to that. Honorable Speaker, that is more than 1,000%. Honorable Speaker, that more than 40% of all advertisements in this country are from betting and for betting and gambling companies. Honorable Speaker, we need to make a bold decision like this country took when
we were dealing with the nuisance of smoking. We need to ban any advertisements through this bill because it is our function as a county, it is a devolved function, it is within our powers to say that nobody will be allowed to advertise, whether on national TV, whether on billboards, whether on flyers. Honorable Speaker, if you have bought or you have looked at a newspaper today, they have an A3 size of paper on every newspaper, pushing us and urging us to keep betting every single day. Honorable Speaker, Kenya leads in African gambling with 84% participation, followed by Nigeria at 78, South Africa at 74, according to the Business Insider. Honorable Speaker, this is something that is supposed to send shockwaves to the parents who are here and to the parents who are in this country. In the year 2023 alone, 28 new betting farms, the size of SportPesa, were registered in this country. Honorable Speaker, I want to say that if Nairobi is the capital of Kenya, where 60% of the GDP is, I can assure you that we are contributing about 90% of all the betting revenue that these companies are taking. Honorable Speaker, the time is now. It cannot be tomorrow, it cannot be any other time, that we call out not just the betting companies, but the enablers, the participants, the investors, and anybody who is urging our parents, ourselves, and our children to bet. Honorable Speaker, if any of these members have had the opportunity to watch news, there is a company that issues a very big check every day in between the news. That is the prime time news. And they are paying millions of shillings for a for about 30 seconds advert that we need to question where they are getting this money. If this money is what they are collecting from our boda people, if this money is what they are collecting from the school-going children, from the people who work in this county. And Honorable Speaker, I would want to remind this House that some years back, the only Kenyan who has been honored by the Arsenal football team was the man who committed suicide after losing a bet. And they actually sent a message to, somebody called Suleiman Omondi, 29 years, committed suicide after losing a bet, which he had placed on the Arsenal football team. And yes, in Pipeline. And the only thing that Arsenal could have done was just send a condolence message and tell the Kenyans that football is not that serious. Honorable Speaker, it is our duty, it is our mandate, it is our responsibility to come and dive into the deep end of this matter and put it to a stop and steer this debate as this House and in this country. And I can assure you, Honorable Speaker, that this is not just about Kenya. There is a deliberate effort to actually convert Africa into a useless, non-productive continent, because we've had the 5 countries that have been targeted as South Africa, Kenya, Uganda, Nigeria, and I think Ghana. They have been targeted by foreign countries of Eastern Europe, and I want to give you, as I finish, Honorable Speaker, I want to give you a preview of what other countries have done to their laws, which I'm urging this House to do, so that we are able to reach where we are supposed to do. Number 1, in the country of China, it has strictly prohibited gambling in mainland China and allows gambling in Macau. Macau is a touristic province in the People's Republic. Further, they do not allow their citizens to gamble. If you go to Macau today, you can gamble as a Kenyan. If you go to Macau as a Chinese, you are not even allowed to place a bet. Honorable Speaker, Russia prohibited gambling since 2009 and is only allowed in 4 zones. Notably, Russia is the origin of most casino games. Online and electronic gambling is banned in Russia. Honorable Speaker, The casinos have been brought in our hands, in our pockets, in our bedrooms. So you can bet as much as you wish from your phone. Countries where gambling is illegal include North Korea, United Arab Emirates, Cambodia, Brunei, Japan, Singapore, Cyprus, Qatar, Lebanon, Poland, etc. Honorable Speaker, other countries like Britain and the US actually limit how much an individual can gamble. Honorable Speaker, our country has no limits. As late as March 19 this year, a teacher in Keio committed suicide after losing 900,000 of a loan she had taken. Honorable Speaker, I know if you are going to continue with this debate, I can assure you as the head of this institution that you will be able to identify members of the staff, members of this assembly who have been grossly affected by this vice. Honorable Speaker, Aviator is making more money in Kenya than in any other country. Most of us know what Aviator is. It is even affecting members of this house. It is very, very sad. On the way forward, Honorable Speaker, and what I urge my colleague Honorable Chege and the committee is that betting and gambling should be seriously controlled before it reaches uncontrollable levels. Honorable Speaker, tax should never be an incentive to facilitate the growth of this industry. Honorable Speaker, I have seen during the tax awards, our national government and our Kenya Revenue Authority awarding betting companies awards for paying taxes without looking at the social and the social fabric that this industry is destroying. With the knowledge that Africa has the fastest growing betting and gambling industry, with Kenya as the leading nation in Africa, a study should be done to look into long-term impact on the economy and social life in the country. Betting and gambling should Honorable Speaker, I beg your attention.
No, you are out of time, but you can conclude.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable members, I would want us to restrict my proposal to this bill as we continue, that I would want us to restrict betting to only casinos which are embedded in our five-star hotels, nowhere else. Honorable Speaker, if you go to our estates, we have a gambling shop every 20 meters in some of these estates, and especially in the informal settlements. Honorable Speaker, it is within our power to control radio and TV advertisements within the boundaries of this county. We can tell them they need to use technology to avoid Nairobi, because we should say no to the level of advertisement. And it's not just sports betting. If you listen to our vernacular radio, especially all the Kikuyu radios, because I listen to some of them, it is horrible, it is terrible, and it is unbelievable the way they urge people to send money to them. All advertisements should be stopped during prime time and billboards across the county. Honorable Speaker, I want to urge these members to stand up, and I want to make this matter so big, not just in Kenya, but in Africa, because I can assure you, after my research, I have established that the people who are investing in gambling and totalizer machines in this country are the Chinese, a country which I have told you that does not allow any form of gambling in their own country. And not just in their own country, they have banned their citizens from gambling anywhere in the world. Honorable Speaker, I want to second that, and I want to urge our members that we be serious and make sure that if anything we have to achieve as this county assembly, let that be one of them. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member, for giving such a depth insight on the bill. Honorable members, I now propose the question that the Nairobi City County Betting, Lotteries and Gaming Bill 2023, Assembly Bill number 12 of 2023, be read a second time. Mwangi Dana, Mwangangi Dana, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to support the motion and state that indeed it is a good step towards regulating the issue of gambling, which has continued to be a growing menace in this country. Indeed, we have seen people losing jobs, losing families because of the addiction to gaming and gambling, and this has been as a result of the uncontrolled advertisement and controlled availability of these machines within reach, which mean that they utilize the little resources that they have for this purpose. And if this bill becomes law, indeed we will see a change as far as our county is concerned, because as legislators it is our duty to protect our citizens from that which harms them. And this gambling, if it is not regulated, it will lead us to a very bad place, Honorable Speaker, and it is for that reason that I beg to support.
Honorable David Magoba.
Sorry, Mr. Speaker, I'm using his card. My card got lost, if you allow, Mr. Speaker.
Kindly proceed,
Mr. Speaker, listening to the leader of majority and the Secretary General of CAF, I want to say thank you to them for preaching Islam, because that's what we are preaching in the mosque. Either to regulate, to approve, or to allow. It's haram, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I'm seeking your guidance. When the bill was read the first time, it was committed to Trade Committee. They did public participation as per the standing orders, Mr. Speaker, and they're supposed to table a report before the commencement of a second reading. I don't know if the report is ready and tabled, Mr. Speaker, and two, if it was the chair, Trade, who was supposed to move the motion, or the sponsor of the motion, Mr. Speaker, because now it has become the property of the committee. It has left the desk of the SG, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Before we proceed on your concern as raised, I have the report of the Select Committee on Trade, Tourism and Cooperatives on the second reading of the Nairobi City County Betting, Lotteries and Gaming Bill 2023, which was tabled before the Assembly. But now on the mover of the motion being Honorable Chege, he happens to be the sponsor of the motion. So it is in order to move the motion. Honorable Member Petit.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. The said member asking all those questions, Mr. Speaker, is a member of Trade and Tourism Committee, Mr. Speaker. And if you happen to look at that document, the member was present at the public participation, Mr. Speaker. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, I just want to support the bill by our CAF Secretariat, Honorable Maura Chege. But Mr. Speaker, with your indulgence, we would like this bill to come back to the committee because this bill came to this House in 2016, if I'm not wrong, Mr. Speaker, and we were not in this House, Mr. Speaker. But the betting funds went to court, Mr. Speaker, because of this bill. Mr. Speaker, we had some amendments in this bill, and the owner of the bill knows that. So, Mr. Speaker, with the indulgence, kindly, you can give directions to this bill.
Thank you, honorable members. The bill can always be reintroduced in the House as much as it was introduced during the first assembly. It is in order, the bill to be reintroduced. And you have indicated that there are some amendments which hopefully are in line with the requirements of the law. For that reason, the members will get an opportunity to go through the amendments at the Committee of the Whole Assembly. Thank you. You stand guided, Honorable Joyce.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. I also want to support this bill. My colleagues have already said enough, but I want to add that, Mr. Speaker, betting is the cause of the rise of insecurity in our city, because sustaining the habit of betting is very expensive, and most victims cannot afford to sustain that habit. So they end up stealing and causing all the insecurities so that they can manage to afford this and sustain this habit. And Mr. Speaker, also betting is also the rise of suicide in our country at the moment. 6 out of 100,000 bettors commit suicide every year because of betting. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I think I support that the betting should be controlled. Let it go back to the casinos. Betting is supposed to be for the rich, not for the poor people who are contemplating between having food, buying food, and taking the money to the casinos. So I think we should regularize and support our citizens and parents and families by controlling betting in this city. Thank you. With that, thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa Kimemia.
Thank you very much, Mheshimiwa Speaker, for this moment. So I want to zero in, Mr. Speaker, on addiction and poverty. Mr. Speaker, in my ward, I'll speak about my ward. I've seen people, hawkers, who sell their wares, then they end up being in a gambling shop. They put their wares outside the gambling shop, they gamble the amount they have, they finish it, they go out again, they sell their wares, then they come back to the gambling shop thinking that they are going to make millions. And I've seen these people, as Mheshimiwa has said, getting sick, others even committing suicide. So as the bill seeks to regulate, because I understand the bill is not a new bill, it's a bill that seeks to enhance on regulation, I think it is important that we regulate, and if it is possible, this is the right way to go. On poverty, well, I've seen these people who do this gambling, people who advertise this gambling, showing us people who are very poor, who can be helped with gambling. I was also attracted by this lotto that comes KBC. I saw him helping a poor family. So I decided, let me put some money into it so that the people can benefit from my 35 shillings. And these small amounts are the most dangerous amounts, because a person who's betting thinks that 35 shillings is a small amount, but they repeatedly continue betting and again and again and again. Then they finish the small amount of money. Like Mheshimiwa Joyce said, I think these companies, they target the most vulnerable people of society. I therefore want to support the regulation bit by Mr. Chege, and I want to also thank him for having brought this into the House, because addiction is a big problem and it brings about poverty for our people. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you, Honorable Ashira.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I'm using the card for Honorable Ashira. just the same way my colleague. Mr. Speaker, I think it's high time that you can order to replace cards for honorable members, because some honorable members don't have these cards. Mr. Speaker, I remember when I was in class 8, because I rise to also support this motion, and my mother gave me 800 shillings to go and buy a good 08 jeans at Isili. And because we were not so much wealthy, and I wanted to buy a jeans and a madoa shirt which had some tigers. So as I was passing through the fence of the Kenya Defence Force, I found some people there who had some 3 cards, and people were around them, and they were saying that if you choose this card, you win. So because I was in urge of buying a trouser and a shirt with my 800 shillings, Mr. Speaker, I went there, I heard what they were saying, and I tried my luck to bet with 500 shillings, or at least I may win 500 shillings to buy a shirt. Mr. Speaker, I won the first round, but the second and the third round, my 800 shillings was not there. Since then, Mr. Speaker, I have never betted the whole of my life. I see people betting, I wonder what they do, Mr. Speaker, because that was a learning lesson. Mr. Speaker, the betting is also not only being done by the adults, it is also being done by kids. Mr. Speaker, what are we setting to the next generation that we have in this Kenya? Mr. Speaker, I beg to support this. Mr. Speaker, if you go to Madare Hospital, here, just around here, 200 meters from here, you will find mental disorders from people who are in our estates, because some of them, they succeeded not committing suicide, but they got stressed up. Mr. Speaker, we are giving our doctors so much work, and we don't have money to pay. Mr. Speaker, I even was saying the other day that even in this house, and even in this city hall, we need some psychiatrists to come and help people, because people are suffering from betting. Mr. Speaker, I want to support this motion. This should have been banned, not only today, but as from yesterday. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Honorable Robert Alai.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I don't know if we know the import of this bill, because I've just read the bill, and I think that the bill is not discouraging betting. The bill, in fact, encourages betting and even allows the county. What the bill does is give the county a stake in the betting industry. And because the bill is introducing even on licenses and charges on other games which are being played, like the pool table, the bill is even proposing to have a public lottery. So I still support the bill, because I think that it is something which is needed. Last year, there's an operation, I think, which was carried out in this city by the inspector, the enforcement department. The operation was targeting what we call the kiosks in the CBD, and the kiosks were all removed. But the biggest victim of the operation was the lotteries, which was being conducted by the Kenya Charity Sweepstake, which is a private company. And the Kenya Charity Sweepstake appealed to some of us and said that, why are you cracking down on us when you can use us to solve some of the social challenges we have in the city? I think that a public lottery, especially for the Nairobi City County, which is the biggest county in this country economically, is very important. The public lottery can be used to handle some of the issues, like even this in a county should be funded by the earnings from the lotteries. If we want to support the people who are not so, who are not so blessed economically, we can use the lotteries to support them. I believe that the licenses which have been introduced are very critical, but we need also to find a way to ensure that when we legalize it, or when we involve the county in some of these issues, it doesn't allow everybody, every Tom, Dick and Harry, to create a casino house everywhere. Because when you don't limit, what I believe that we need to do also in the bill, and we might be able to put in the amendment at the committee of the whole house stage, is to ensure that we limit the number of operators we can have in this city. we can also ensure that we auction the licenses of the operators we expect to be carrying out the limited betting we are going to allow in the city. And also I think that we need to limit the number of years the person who is the company or the entity which is going to carry out the public lottery from 7 years to 4 years, so that the entity does not operate for so long. 7 years is a very long time. I believe that this bill is very important, is very critical for for bridging the gap of in our society. I believe that it is a well thought out idea, but I think also we need to update it, because a lot of regulations have changed. In 2022, the betting revenue was almost 600 billion. Now it has been reduced to 80 billion. Because of some regulations which were introduced at the national government state. I think that we need to align the bill to the regulations which were introduced at the national government, so that it doesn't bring in a conflict, and ensure that, at least the county, which is the most important county, the city county, get a stake. There's no way this business has gone for so long while we have been sitting on it and operational and even helping them thrive, but we have not claimed our actual state. I have seen betting contribute negatively to some of our critical, pastimes. Like football now is at risk because of the match fixing. It is brought about by betting. I think that we can work to ensure that we support this business, but we also align our regulations with the national regulations to ensure that it happens safely, because it's part of the vice economy, and it's happening in an environment where we can claim our stake, but claim it safely and protect the society. Mr. Speaker, I beg to support.
Thank you. Honourable members, my screen is clear, an indication there's no more contribution. From here, Honourable Helen, then Honourable Kidenda, then finally Honourable Yugi. Honourable Yugi, you are under intervention, so you are not on the request list.
Asante sana Bwana Speaker.
I don't know which button you have pressed. Yes, check properly. Can you proceed, Honourable Member?
Asante Bwana Speaker kwa kunipatia fursa hii ili niweze kuunga mkono mswada huu wa bahati nasibu ya kamari na mswada wa michezo ya kubahatisha. Bwana Speaker, mswada huu umekuja wakati ufao Bwana Speaker. Na Bwana Speaker, kabla tusahau, hapo awali kuna sijui niweke kama mabenki, yalikuja kama mabenki, lakini yalikuwa michezo ya kubahatisha Bwana Speaker, ambapo watu walikuwa wanachukua mkopo, ukichukua kama 1,300 peleke pale Bwana Speaker, unapatiwa 1,600 Bwana Speaker. Na Bwana Speaker, watu wetu wengi waliweza kuchukua mkopo Bwana Speaker, wakipeleka pale. Waliopeleka wa kwanza walipata, wakarudi tena mara ya pili wakapata, waliporudi mara ya tatu Bwana Speaker, walirudi na pesa mingi sana Bwana Speaker. Na kwa bahati mbaya Bwana Speaker, waliweza kupoteza pesa zao. Bwana Speaker, kama tunaweza kumbuka, watu wengi sana walipoteza maisha yao Bwana Speaker kwa sababu ya mchezo ya kubahatisha. Bwana Speaker, mchezo wa kubahatisha unavunja familia mingi sana Bwana Speaker. Na sisi kama wakilishaji wodi wa Nairobi Bwana Speaker, ni jukumu letu ili tuweze kulinda wana Nairobi, wale watu ambao walitutuma kwa nyumba hii ili tuweze kuwasaidia Bwana Speaker. Bwana Speaker, mimi ushikwa na mshangao sana wakati nimeketi pale nyumbani na naangalia habari. Hapo katikati utapata wanaleta Bwana Speaker
wanajaribu kusema ukiweka hii pesa utapata hii pesa, ukileta hii pesa utapata hii pesa. Bwana Spika, si ukweli Bwana Spika. Maana watu wetu wengi kama vile walivyosema wenzangu Bwana Spika, ukiangalia shilingi 50 Bwana Spika utadhani ni pesa kidogo Bwana Spika. Lakini tujiulize, je, ni watu wangapi walioweka hiyo shilingi 50? Ama je, ni watu wangapi walioweka shilingi 100 ama 200 Bwana Spika? Na ni wangapi waliopata? Bwana Spika, tunafaa kujiuliza kampuni inatengeneza pesa ngapi? Na je, watu wetu wa Nairobi, je, wananufaika? Jibu ni hapana, hawanufaiki Bwana Spika. Bwana Spika, tunafaa Bwana Spika tuhukumu hii maneno ya kubati nasibu Bwana Spika. Tuweze kuhimiza watu wetu Bwana Spika wawachane na mchezo wa bahati nasibu Bwana Spika. Maana hii mchezo wa bahati nasibu Bwana Spika, hata wakati unavyoletwa kwa ma-TV zetu Bwana, televisheni zetu Bwana Spika, inalenga wale watu ambao wanao mapato ya chini Bwana Spika. Na pia ukiangalia kinagaubaga Bwana Spika, utapata kuwa elimu pia Bwana Spika, si wale watu ambao wanaelewa maneno ya bahati nasibu. Nile anasikia tu huyu amepata, huyu ameweka, huyu amepata, huyu amepata, lakini hakuna aliyepata Bwana Spika. Bwana Spika, tunafaa kuhukumu hii mchezo wa bahati nasibu hata kwa televisheni zetu Bwana Spika hazifai kuonyeshwa. Kama vile alivyosema kiongozi wa wachache Bwana Spika, hili mchezo la bahati nasibu Bwana Spika liekwe kwa wale ambao wanaelewa. Maybe tuseme kwa wale wanaocheza mchezo za golf wanaweza fanya hiyo, kwa wale ambao wadosi wenye wako na pesa Bwana Spika, au waruhusiwe kufanya hivyo Bwana Spika. Lakini tulinde wana Nairobi Bwana Spika kama wana wodi wa Nairobi. Asante.
Thank you. Honorable Lily Kidenda.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Allow me to thank our Secretary General, Bwana Shege Mwaura, who has brought this up to this assembly. I'd also like to thank our minority leader, who has ably documented critical things about this bill, and the honorable members who have spoken to it. I'd like to bring to our attention the mental damage that our children, before I come to the adults, our children have been exposed to because of betting. The critical nature of this thing is how it is camouflaged and packaged as beautiful, as profitable, even though behind the scenes, a lot of things, you never bet first time and lose. You bet first time and win. And it's designed in such a way to get you to look again. And I want to say that this thing called addiction is so underestimated. People do not realize that addiction is a prison that will suck the actual life out of you. It will destroy your mental health. And my focus today is going to be on the regulatory body of this thing. Whatever we decide to do, it's important to know that it is our responsibility. It will be said in the year of, if we do not take critical action to negate the death hole that betting is giving to our children and giving to our adults, because we are not immune, older people are not immune, then it will be said that we actually provided the bullet that killed our institutions. We know bankers today who have lost their jobs because of betting. They start stealing slowly, and nobody notices, but before they know it, they don't have jobs. And their jobs are gone, their families are broken. Men who actually were men that people spoke about today are begging on the streets. Many times our leaders say, check what you do in this county. You don't know. There are people out there who are pushing Kokotenis who are once honorable members. I'd like to just say that the regulatory body, who is going to sit on this regulatory body? Is it someone who really understands the depth of addiction when it comes to this and other addictions? Addictions come in many forms. I'd like us to look at how our media, both print and the electronic media, have just totally lost it. They need to be called upon to take responsibility for what they put out there. And I pray that as we discuss this bill, that we will give it the seriousness it deserves, and as we thank you for putting it on our phones and giving it to us, let us all read it closely and clearly and understand what decisions we are going to make. And let's speak with one voice and redeem our nation which has been stolen, has been robbed really. Stolen is light. Robbed. And robbers are supposed to be behind bars. I'd like to see some people put behind bars. And the sadness is that even those who are promoting this, their children are not safe. But to sit here and listen that a country that has banned betting in the whole state is being entertained here to give our children rot, to bring them to their knees. We have to stand as a team. We have to work together to see that we look at this critically, speak to it critically, make decisions that we can be proud of, even as leaders. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and thank you for this bill and everything that has been said.
Thank you, Honorable Yugi. Then the mover of the motion to reply.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, respectfully allow me to begin by saying that I oppose this bill. Mr. Speaker, I wonder whether we understand how many people are employed by these betting companies. If we abolish betting in this county, I don't know where these people who are fully depending on the employment opportunity from the betting companies.
Honorable Member, the bill does not talk of abolishing. The bill talks of regulating. Coming up with measures.
Regulating might also lead to the abolishment, Mr. Speaker. So allow me not to gag me with the way
I'm kindly proceed.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, one, ask yourself, why the proliferation of these betting companies is in this country? Again, the beauty of it, the mover and the seconder are senior members of the Kenya Kwanza administration, which is allowing and which is giving licenses to these betting companies. That tells you that there is a gap. Why are Kenyans joining betting companies? It's because it is a source of livelihood to a number of members of this county. That is why they are joining the betting farms. If I were from the Kenya Kwanza government, I would have given alternative.
Honorable Yugi, there is a point of order from Honorable Kiragu. Honorable Kiragu, under what standing order?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Which standing order?
Honorable
Please,
Speaker,
can you be seated? The member is already on the floor.
Honorable Speaker, he's a senior member and he knows which standing order I'm standing on.
Kindly don't engage the member. The member is addressing the chair.
Honorable, yes. Honorable
no,
Speaker.
that is what I want.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I'm sure he's a senior member and he knows which standing order I'm standing on. I refer him to the standing order. Honorable Speaker,
kindly before you proceed, get your facts right, Honorable Minority Leader. Just be seated, get your facts right, get your standing orders right, then you may request for
Thank you,
opportunity again.
Thank you for the protection, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, what I'm saying in essence, if it is true that betting is a rot, it is true that betting is killing our people, it is true betting is bringing laziness in our country. As a government, what are we doing to address this? Because I cannot be putting my money where my mouth does not belong to. What alternative measures are you giving out to Kenyans as a member of the Kenya Kwanza government, as a member of a ruling party? So, Mr. Speaker, respectfully again, I beg to oppose.
Thank you. Thank you. Point of order 91. Let me, before I give you an opportunity, let me go through the standing order, points of order. You may proceed, Honorable Minority Leader.
Honorable Speaker, it's unfortunate that he has finished to mislead this House. He has finished misleading this House, especially because the party that actually put us in this mess is the party called Jubilee, which is a constituent party of the Azimio government. Honorable Speaker,
Honorable Yugi,
Honorable
please.
Speaker, we cannot talk about the number of people who lose their jobs when it comes to destroying. We should be talking about the number of lives they are destroying. Honorable Speaker, I have listened to two members. One is the member for High Rise, who is Oyugi, and I'm very disappointed. I will make sure that the people of High Rise know his stand on this issue of betting. Honorable Speaker, I would also want the chairman to fully support a bill that he has brought to this House.
But Honorable Member, you are not the sponsor of the bill.
I am not the sponsor.
I really wonder why you are quite passionate about members who oppose the motion. This is a house of debate.
Yes.
And every member has a reason either to be pro or yes. So you should not, you can only persuade members of this assembly to support your initiative. Yes, so you may be seated.
I was only talking about the party Kenya Kwanza government that is so focused.
I hope you don't draw the national government in this. Yes. Yes, I hope we don't draw the national government in this. Emily, we have called out the move of the motion to reply. Unless it's just one point. Please proceed. Kindly be seated, Honorable Member.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. First of all, I congratulate my chair of PAC for bringing in such a nice initiative. First of all, lottery or betting is an entertainment, just like the other one. So the input of bringing in a law that is going to cap where it goes and how it comes is very important, keeping in mind that as an entertainment, we want to know which area will be going to be entertained while we are playing that, and also keep in mind that we want to have pot of members, just like when we have a board of governors who can govern it, and make sure that they have like certain amount of money to start. Just like when you want to do the M-Pesa thing or the bank thing, you have to deposit certain amount of money for you to get the license. So I'm hoping you'll put in that thing as we support the motion. Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker and Honorable. Thank you, my chair of PAC, for bringing in such a motion.
Thank you, Honorable Member. I now call the mover to reply. But again, Honorable Members, before the Honorable Chege proceed to apply, just be seated, Honorable Members. You know, the standing order requires the time, the hours of meeting. Honorable Members, the hours of meeting should actually be by 5:30. We still have one motion, which I suspect might also take some time, depending on the mood of the House. So if any case we must transact the business, then at exactly 5:30 I would request a member to move a motion of adjustment on the hours of the meeting. Thank you. So you stand guided. Honorable Chegemora, please.
Mr. Speaker, I thank you so much, and I also want to thank the members because today is a great day that, number one, we have a motion proceeding and the business of the House not being interrupted. And now you're even asking for an extension of time so that the bills can be moved. So I thank you. I was pushing Mheshimiwa Sospita yesterday, and I was telling them their power is here. And this is where you learn how to control any business you want here, and even executive. So I'm happy, and if that extension comes, we will still be here to pursue it so that members feel the importance of having this more, the time in the assembly. Mr. Speaker, I have had very good responses from members, and of course even dissenting ones. And also, again, I'm happy that the debate was balanced. There were heavyweights on the opposing side as well as the ones supporting, and to me that is the interest and the business of the House. Mr. Speaker, I started by mentioning Article 4th Schedule of the Constitution, Article 34 of the 4th Schedule, so that the members who felt maybe we are not addressing everything. Article 34, and I repeat, gives national betting, casinos, and other forms of gambling as a national function. Mr. Speaker, again on 2nd Schedule, which gives county governments mandate, on Article 4, talks about betting, casinos, and other forms of gambling as part of the cultural activities, public entertainment, and public amenities as fact of the county government's business. What members need to understand is that the industry that manages gambling is also a cartel in itself. So the laws that favor them in the national side, they hide around them. The ones that favor them for the county, they hide around there. And so if we allow us not to be clothed with some regulation or some framework of some sort, then we give them an opportunity to take advantage and take us in circles. So number one, the most important thing is to have a vehicle. Whether it is well equipped or it needs better tires and everything, so to speak, we will clothe it as we progress. But let's first of all have a vehicle. Mheshimiwa Chair Trade, Mr. Speaker, the Chair Trade had public participation done, number one. And number two, ever since I tabled this motion, the Committee of Trade has been working hand in hand with the executive, so that we do not have a gap where the cartels might come and say, Assembly didn't do this, or the executive didn't do this. And I know he will agree that by having a combined effort between the executive and the Department of Trade, when we are doing, when the committee, the bill was given to the committee, they've scrutinized from both ends. And that's why Mheshimiwa Lai, when he's mentioning issues with regards to we not coming clearly to abolish some of the things, or it's even giving opportunities for licensing and all that. That was the input of the executive. We did not want, we do our own bill here, and then executive comes with another bill that is contradicting each other, and we give the cartels an opportunity to hide around there. And so we carried one bill that carries both the concerns of the executive in terms of raising revenue and the concerns of the assembly, which are social responsibility in nature, so that the vehicle is it's balanced on both ends. Mr. Speaker, again, just for the concerns of Mheshimiwa Hashim, is that even as the bill passes on the second reading, we are not going to rush it the way we rush some of the bills we wanted to pass haraka. No, it will still be open to scrutiny. The committee is still alive to it. We want a conversation like the one we have here to be happening in our wards and to happen with the Nairobians, so that by the time we agree this is the law, we have sufficient information passed there to the public. We are not in a hurry. So I am intending that even the committee can improve it further. When the members will bring amendments, again we improve it further, so that by the time we are coming in with a law, we are allowing that there will be nowhere to hide for unscrupulous gamblers and unscrupulous people who want us to take us to areas that are not rightful there. Mr. Speaker, I want to remind you because we were there in the first assembly. When we passed the liquor fund, the idea was to bring a fund that can take care of the menaces that are brought by alcoholism. And so as Mheshimiwa Kidenda is talking about regulation, where we missed it a bit with liquor is the regulational strength of what we put in. The first board was not clever enough to be able to facilitate the things that we had in mind when we were putting up the liquor fund. Where we are going to go correctly, and Mheshimiwa Lai raised this and Mheshimiwa Yugi, where we want to be very correct on this time is to make sure that the regulatory body, which is actually put here as the functions of the board, are very clear on where these monies that are going to be collected, what exactly they're going to do. After 10 years of liquor fund, and on average, the people who don't know, liquor fund collects about 300-400 million a year. So in about 10 years, they've done about 2.5 to 3 billion. But in terms of what you would want to see in terms of maybe sporting activities or soccer play, whatever, to help us strengthen that issue of the rehabilitation houses, they're none. So where we are going to correct, and by the way, Mheshimiwa Lai mentioned that the sporting, but there is a sports fund at the national level, and its main component is the sporting, the gaming and lottery licenses fees are taken there. And Mheshimiwa Minority Leader will remember when we went to this debate in the Senate, the amounts of money that the sports fund get from gaming is not less than 10 billion per year. In fact, at that time, the minister himself was coming to ask that that money goes directly to Treasury before it goes to the fund first. Why? Because they look at it from a financial point of view. Where we want to be very clear as an assembly and as representatives of people is the social aspect of it. How much money, as Mheshimiwa Oyugi is mentioning, the monies that is generated from gaming, from lottery, how much are Nairobians getting back in terms of, leave alone that one person who wins, and we don't know there are 1,000 who are crying. Of that amount that is gotten, what happens with that money? The companies that are happy to raise taxation, all that, what are they doing to the county so that we feel there is a commensurate improvement of our lives with this industry? And so we are not fighting industry, as Mheshimiwa Emi is talking about. Gaming and is captured here. Mr. Speaker, you will interrogate and see Article 6 talks about the functions of the board, how it is the business of it is to promote and implement national policies and norms and standards between betting and lottery and gaming activities for the county, to recommend for issuances of lottery licenses for betting and gaming activities within the county. All those things we are talking about then. If you look at Article 36, it talks about the bulk of the money coming from lottery must be for charitable, sporting, and other purposes as the main component of allowing you to get a license. 37 talks about incidental entertainment that comes with the lotteries. So we want to balance and see to what extent are we talking about the entertainment bit and what amount are we talking about in activities that will fund Nairobians. So Speaker, finally, pyramid schemes. I was a young man when I saw people flying from some building in town, and there was still a parliament, and there was still a county council then. I think it was in the 2000s. No one said anything, but people used to go and get, teachers would go and borrow money, and then they come and put this money to a pyramid scheme, and no one was there fighting. We must be there to fight. We can't allow Nairobians to face the way we felt when people were dying because of pyramid schemes. So Speaker, as an amendment, I will agree with what the leader of minority has mentioned about the enablers and the conduits. They must be called out. The stations, the TV channels, the telcos, and I'm not ashamed to mention even Safaricom. All this
time out, Honourable Member.
Speaker, it's not ready yet.
We are exactly at 5.
Yes, 2 minutes, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I beg to reply, and I thank you, and I promise members that it will be participatory, and we are going to carry along all the views that have come. Thank you. I beg to reply. Thank you.
Thank you. Honourable Members, I now put the question that the Nairobi City County Betting, Lotteries and Gaming Bill 2023, Assembly Bill number 12 of 2023 be read a second time. Clerk. Sorry. May as many of the similar opinions say ayes. May as many of the contrary opinions say nays. The ayes have it.
The Nairobi City County Betting, Lotteries and Gaming Bill 2023. A bill for an act of the Nairobi City County Assembly for the control and licensing of betting, gaming, and totalizer premises and other forms of gaming within the county, for authorization of prize competitions and public lotteries within the county, for the imposition of the entertainment tax, and for connected purposes. Order number 9, motion.
Honorable members, we are in order number 9, and I really don't understand from which reference you are making on request of point of order. Honorable member, I think you are out of order. You can only rise on a point of order when there is a business to transact. So don't put the cart before the horse, or the horse before the cart. Honorable Robert Alai. The member is on the floor first. Give him time first.
Honorable Speaker, thank you for the, I can read the mood of the House and also the feeling of the members. I beg, Honorable Speaker, with your kind indulgence, to postpone this motion to Tuesday. So that I have a funeral. I'm burying an uncle on Saturday, so I'll travel to the village tomorrow. I ask that we transact the business on Tuesday next week. Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member, and sorry for the loss of an uncle. A request by Honorable Alai. Honorable members, is that the feeling of the House? Or you seek for the extension, understanding order number 33? Do we seek for extension hours of meeting? Honorable members? Okay, so honorable members, by request of the mover of the motion number 9 stand deferred and directed back to the House Business Committee for consideration. For that reason, honorable members, we come to the conclusion of the business of the day, and I so direct the Assembly stand adjourned and our standing orders to tomorrow, 2:30 p.m. Thank you, honorable members.